Former Olympic swimmer Sharron Davies and sailing pioneer Tracy Edwards have launched a women's sports union, which is specifically targeting sports which they say still fail to ensure fairness and safety for women at all levels. It comes after the Supreme Court ruled in April the definition of a woman related to biological sex.
Critics say the new union is aiming to exclude trans women at grassroots level altogether, rather than to protect women. Well, the co-founders, Sharron Davies and Tracy Edwards, join us now. Very good morning to you both. Sharron, you had made a very eye-catching statement at the weekend. You did an interview with one of the papers in which you said, "I am not anti-trans, I am pro-female." Tell us what you're trying to do for women and explain how trans women shouldn't feel that that is anti-trans.
So sport is obviously done with the body that we have. And there is a very big difference between a male and female performance. Now, women get 5% of the sponsorship dollar in the world of sport. That's all we get.
Wow.
So for every 20 stories that will appear in your newspaper, there's one story for women. So we get this tiny, tiny slice of the cake for 51% of the population. And then we were told we weren't even allowed to have fair sport. Now, WADA is the World Anti-Doping Agency. The whole reason for WADA is to try to remove any unfair advantage from people in sport. So if you want to have women have an opportunity in sport to compete in any shape or form, it needs to be a level playing field, which means that biology matters. And it matters at every level. So we can't turn around and say that we're going to protect elite athletes, but we're not going to protect recreational or pathways or juniors. What we must do is find ways to include everybody. You know, that's always been. Tracy and I have loved sport all our life, tried to make people do as much sport as we possibly can. I really believe that women and girls should be able to have to do sport. Do you know, we used to lose girls from sport at 15, 16. We're now losing them at 11 in this country. And we have to find better ways to engage them. And at the moment, we're just not doing it.
What is the solution then? Is it to have a male category, a biological female category, and then a trans category, or how would you do it?
So we tried in World Aquatics to do that, and nobody turned up. The trans community didn't turn up. So I think that the sensible answer is really a female protected category and an open, inclusive category where everyone can be, they can identify however they like, wear whatever they like, call themselves however they like, have, you know, be respected for how they identify. But we have a level playing field. Or there's the option of creating sort of third mixed teams where people are acknowledging that if they're going to play football, for example, the risk is going to go up to women getting injured. And we know that's one of the reasons why the FA protected the female category, because the risks of, you know, girls were getting hurt, quite seriously hurt, ending careers. And
can I ask about the campaign the union is going to be driving forward? I mean, clearly in swimming, whether you have a biologically female body or not makes a huge difference. I think in sailing as well, I do sailing, it's a very, very physical sport. But if you take sports like, I don't know, darts or snooker or shooting, it's less clear that the physical difference is important. And look, I may be wrong about that, and there may be experts in archery who say no, no, no. But do you think this has to apply across every sport, or would you take it sport by sport, depending upon whether the judgment is that the sex really matters?
Yeah, I will let Tracy answer that, but obviously any sport that had male and female had male and female for a reason beforehand.
There is actually, so snooker especially, there's a huge difference between men and women, reach, stature, breaking power, misspent youth, sorry, sign off. But
how about archery?
Archery, again, the pull. I've actually done archery, and the pull is very different. Everything about men and women is different, down to our cells, down to our very core.
That originally it would have been men who were the only people who competed, and originally you'd have brought in a female category because the men wouldn't let the females compete. You know, so it's not obvious the fact there's male and female.
Females
there
going
is a
into
difference.
men's sport are no risk to men. You know, it doesn't remove. So the UN did a report 18 months ago showing that women had lost 600 major international medals. That's closer to 900 now.
900 now.
And that's just in international medals.
But you're saying it should
apply
in every sport, and not just in some.
But the thing for me is, why are we not obeying the law? This is what this all comes down to. There are millions of women shouting at the television right now, going, wah! Because we are sick to death of having to answer, well, what about these people? What about those people? I'm sorry. We are pro-women. We want the rights of women to stand. We want people to follow the law. And it is the law. It was the Law and the Equality Act in 2010. It's been now, obviously, as we know, clarified in the Supreme Court judgment, 16th of April this year. And what that does is give women the rights that biological females have the right to female sport. Now, if we then start going, oh, we'll do that and then we'll have that and we won't do that sport. No. We need to start from the premise that women's rights matter and we must adhere to those.
So you're saying a person who's transitioned from being a biologically sex woman to what she would say is a man, they should not be allowed to be in a women-only
they're still a woman.
sport.
Yeah. You can't change sex. So if you're a trans-identified woman, we do have trans-identified women in women's sports, as long as they're not taking testosterone, because obviously then that would be cheating. Right. So it's about
we have
biological...
Olympics,
yeah,
it's
about
boxing.
biological
A Filipino
sex.
boxer who was a trans-identifying female competed in the women's boxing and none of the women had a problem.
Yeah.
So the women don't mind, you know, they don't mind how you identify as long as it's a level playing field. And I just feel if women can do that, then why can't men do it?
Well, men need to welcome
I'm
in...
confused about the terminology.
So a trans-identifying female identifies as a trans man. Yeah.
OK.
So they are. I'm using female and male for us a way to explain what someone is biologically, because that's what matters.
OK, so your point is, whatever you were born biologically, whatever biologically...
You remain that biologically.
You remain that.
You do.
And so if you become trans man, but you have a biologically female body, you would carry on competing...
If you wish to.
As long as you're not taking testosterone.
And that's why we need the open category, because if you don't have that open category, there's nowhere for that individual to race.
Sharron, I want to ask, you were denied a gold medal at the Olympics.
Yeah, don't say when.
But, well...
Not that long ago.
We were all cheering you on.
And that was because...
You were a childhood hero of mine.
That was because of a drugs cheat.
Yeah.
Is that something that has spurred you on?
It's the reason I speak out the most, because obviously it affected my generation so badly. You know, for 20 years, these young East German girls, through no fault of their own, were given these horrendous drugs. Many of them have died. All of them are ill. Many of them had disabled children because they were given testosterone from 11. And my generation missed out. I mean, I won a medal, so I had a career that came off the back of that medal. But I have friends that were fourth behind 3 East Germans, and nobody knows who they are. And their whole lives would have been different. So I feel very strongly that sport should be fair, and we should fight to try and make it as fair as possible. Of course, there are people out there all the time trying to, you know, to beat us. But ultimately, we should try to make it as fair as possible. So I suppose that is sort of ingrained in me, this thing about trying to... And also, the whole point of the Women's Sports Union is to grow women's sport, right? Yeah. We're not here just to do this one topic.
Yeah, that's one tiny part of it.
Tracy, is there a change happening at the top when it comes, for instance, to the Olympics, but still an issue for people running grassroots sport who are very confused about what to do? Let me just give you an example. So we spoke to Amelia Short, a trans grassroots cricket player who supports trans women being allowed to compete in female sports and was no longer allowed to play in the women's cricket team after the Supreme Court ruling. Here's Amelia's reaction.
If you're trying to push segregation against trans women, then you are anti-trans. There's no two ways about it. We are human at the end of the day, so stop acting like we aren't and really consider the impact of what your organisation is causing on a minority. Women in sports is a minority, so why are they as an organisation pushing against them, a minority? It makes no sense to me, and it's backward thinking if you want to move forward.
So it's backward thinking if you don't support women in sport, bearing in mind that I said right at the very beginning how small our piece of the cake is. And in cricket, we've already had a girl had a broken arm by a trans-identifying male throw a ball at them. And men throw a ball much harder than women throw a ball. So in things like football, cricket, rugby, it's dangerous. That's the other thing as well. It's
our
not
confusion
fair.
there is that the speaker, Emily, is,
Amelia.
in her word, Amelia, is a trans-identifying female, because she says she's a female,
but she's biologically
born a male,
not.
but you're using it the other way around, so you say...
But she's biologically not, right? So the point is the
male.
Biology. We play our sport with our bodies, we don't play it with our feelings, and that's what's really important.
Very interesting.
Thank you both very much indeed. The International Olympic Committee told us it has established a working group to discuss the protection of the female category and that it continues its discussions. No decisions have been taken and further information will be shared in due course.
And Sharon's been nominated to join the House of Lords. No? I thought
Is that a secret?
Well, it's supposed... It was leaked, I believe,
We are going to be asking questions on every subject under the sun next time.
I know. It's going to be a steep learning curve, isn't it? Thank you.
Well, I hope that is what's happening, if it is what's happening.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good to talk to you both this morning, and thanks to Amelia as well.